Hey, everybody. I don't know if I'm going to be able to see. Let me update the title here. Yeah. So, what I'm going to be doing today is just going over my resume. And if anybody joins, I can send you an invite link and you can join this call and we can share your resume. Try to get some more eyes out there for people. I am going to pull up here and see if I can gain any insight into the activity of these streams. I'm going to pull up LinkedIn. That'll be a drag on the computer a little bit. We won't leave that running for long. And then go over here to YouTube Studio and real quick over to X. Hopefully the computer can just handle all of it. Alright, public on YouTube. Don't worry too much. And live on X. It's cool. And I don't know how to. Oh yeah, and I'm live on LinkedIn. Just to make sure it's all gonna. Didn't update the. There we go. All right. So looks like we are live everywhere. I'm not going to worry too much about the viewer count because that's not what counts actually. It's just getting the content out there. So the first resume will be mine. Go over some of my experience, and hopefully by then somebody will join and they'll DM, and we'll get them on the call here. I wonder actually, can I? Not hide. Don't want to hide. All right. So my name is Mitchell Turner. I am a senior Kubernetes and AWS infrastructure engineer. I've been doing this for a long time. Been in the AWS space since 2015. That was my first entry into AWS. Prior to that, I was with data centers, ISPs, and things of that nature. So working backwards on my resume here, most recently until March of this year, I was in charge of automation and infrastructure for Modern Loop. Now, Modern Loop, they make a product that basically they help schedule complex, usually like multi-step, sometimes multinational interview processes. It's quite a task to coordinate all that. So Modern Loop helps get all the ducks in a row, and my job was to get Modern Loop's ducks in a row from an infrastructure perspective. We definitely did that. We had some really reliable infrastructure. It was based on Kubernetes, so we ran EKS. All of that was built with Terraform, and there was a little bit of custom scripting. Really, with Modern Loop, I went out of my way to try to use existing battle-tested products rather than depending on my own cleverness and rewriting everything. I tried to adapt our workflow to meet where the tools were, rather than just saying, "Well, I'll write a new tool." And so what we had was an infrastructure that everything was in code. It was all in a couple Git repos. We had roughly 60 different modules that went with that. So different Terraform modules to build little pieces of infrastructure out. Um, Everything was in there, front to back, every step, every process. I didn't write a ton of documentation, um, but I had everything split out. I had enough documentation to show how to use the infrastructure code, and then everything was just a repeat of the exact same process, whether you're working on RDS or EKS or something at a higher level like in Kubernetes. It was a JVM shop, modern Java app, but still JVM shop. If you've ever run Java apps, you know that they're super predictable, and usually pretty constrainable. That's something I really appreciate about Java when I'm running on Kubernetes, is that Java is, you can contain it, constrain it, and control it. Um, AI and various other situations caused Modern Loop to have to restructure, reorganize, and they didn't need me anymore. Um, Prior to that, I was with Flourish Software. Flourish, really cool software. They're still doing great. I still talk with them somewhat frequently. They build ERP software for the legal and regulated cannabis retail space. So if you go into a dispensary in any retail legal state, there's a good chance you're going to have Flourish software somewhere in the mix. Um, they go, what is it? They're in the vertical, I think is the right word, but uh, their product helps with all of, what was it, seed to sale. So cannabis industry is highly regulated. You wouldn't believe. And so Flourish tracked every single thing. When a seed goes in the ground, they're tracking the seed. They track the plant that the seed becomes. They track the seeds that come from the plant. It's a whole thing. Our infrastructure there, very similar to Modern Loop. They were a Go shop, so everything was written in Go language. Wow. Go is a cool language to run from an infrastructure perspective. Similar to Java, it's pretty predictable, pretty stable. Um, but we ran Kubernetes. Almost everything was in Terraform. There were some things that I used Ansible to automate, such as interacting with the secrets in Bitbucket. Um, we didn't have we didn't have centralized secrets management. There's some really cool tools out there now. Doppler is one I really like, and I believe not sure exactly how to say it, but in Physical might be the man, the glare off of those glasses. Jeez Louise. They're anti-glare for me, but not for you. We'll try them without. That's fine. Um, yeah, so the infrastructure at Flourish, like I said, Kubernetes all the way around. Everything was in Terraform or Ansible or various shell scripts. I ended up writing a fair amount of code for the infrastructure and DevOps side of Flourish. Everything from just, you know, integrating a Bitbucket pipeline into the Kubernetes cluster, or I wrote a specialized MySQL backup tool because MySQL dump was just not really up to the task. We had some issues that we needed more resilient backup solutions there. Um, Both of Modern Loop, Flourish, and then Threat Connect before it, SOC 2, Type 2, and ISO compliant, going through annual reviews on each of those. With Flourish, it was all 5 of the SOC 2 trust services criteria. And we had to go into everything. We had to prove data integrity front to back. Oh my goodness, those last 2 in SOC 2 really, they change the game. They really do. Um, and then with Threat Connect was really cool. And man, did they gave me an amazing opportunity, and I feel like I did a pretty decent job with it. I was younger then. I didn't know as much as I know now, and I was much more energetic. Um, Threat Connect was a big infrastructure environment. We had By the time I left, we had at least 60 what we call dedicated clouds, and these would be full setup, everything, right? On databases, multiple database servers, multiple application servers. All of this was managed. Terraform was not quite there yet. We did use Terraform for the AWS side, but not for the Linux management side. We were still doing a lot of like real OS management, running Docker, Docker Compose, stuff like that. So that was all Ansible. Man, do I miss Ansible, but I don't miss managing servers, like having like, oh, there's that server again. No, I like deleting them and putting up new ones. But so with Threat Connect, that was where I went in, had never done AWS prior except for a little tinkering on the free tier, and I knew nothing about, what we call DevOps and infrastructure as code. That was all stuff that I picked up there. There was a guy named Bracy who was doing infrastructure before me, and he had done a very good job. It was still very much the manual, like now I've got 40 servers, now I've got 50 servers, and you had to know about each one. We were able to kind of get past that. By the time I left, we had moved everything to Docker. I was investigating Kubernetes, and I went and ran with Kubernetes is one of the reasons that I moved on from Threat Connect. But with Threat Connect, I was involved with third-party integrations. I worked with the sales team. We were a large startup, but still a startup. We were selling to Fortune 50, Fortune 100, various government institutions, and it was a really fun job. I learned a ton, got to do a lot of different things. One of the biggest things that I worked on with that. Here is the button to customize. Not that one. Well, maybe I can't move the resume to go down to the next one. Prior to Threat Connect, I was in ISPs and data centers. We were building small clouds in, they called them Andrews shelters, is what we were building in. These little concrete buildings. They're great for telco operations. And so we had these little data centers spread all around North Carolina, and we put VMware and EMC in those. We had Fiber Connect, so we were an ISP building cloud stuff, building data centers. I built some really cool work tracking software for them back in the day. This was when Bootstrap was still new and jQuery was the shit. Well, you shouldn't say things like that on a resume review, but that's how it was back then. Anyway, I built a tracking system so that workers in the field could use their phones back then, their mobile phones, to check for work, view satellite imagery of where our fiber assets were underground. And then, like I said, we were building the cloud stuff the software wound up being my primary job, but the cloud was what we were there for. They're still out there building private clouds for people. Let's see, where was I before? That was Broadplex. And man, we had another name, and I forget what we called ourselves. And then prior to that, I was with Dacentech CentraLogic. It was a data center. In Lenoir, North Carolina. We had tens of thousands, I forget the exact number, tons of servers in the building, and I cut my teeth in data center networking using Cisco, Brocade, HP type. Boy, the HPs, my goodness. We already made so many HPs, but the Brocades I really liked. The Brocades were nice. They were really, really solid, moved a ton of traffic. The Ciscos that we had were aging at the time. They were, I've got one of the fans actually somewhere, 6500s, I think. Catalyst 6500s, big square things, big racks. We had several of those. And so I was a network engineer, server engineer. We were doing IPMI and Pixie boots. So we would, you would order a server from the website and it would kick off a chain of events. And ultimately we'd say, all right, fire. And it would go out and it would build your server. We knew where it was in the rack. We could already get to the management interface and we would install the OS, get it prepped for you, get it delivered. And then we supported network connectivity, hardware failures, and things of that nature. If anybody has DM'd me, for what it's worth, I guess I'm not aware. No. No messages anywhere. My resume, it doesn't, I mean, it does go back further, but let's see. Just gonna check in over here on the different studios. Man, no views at all on YouTube. Let's see what X is like. At least 8 people have seen that there is a post. And LinkedIn, I can't see anything yet. They seem like it's tough to see. Nope, nothing. Well, I don't know that I'll just keep hanging out. I've got several other things I can work on. I've got other video ideas that I want to work on today. If somebody sees this and you thought, hey, I'd like to share my resume or talk to this guy about, the job market or whatever, love to talk to people, hear your stories. We're in such a different time. I think we need to use the outreach that we can get, and video is a great way to reach people. So if you'd like to share your story, you'd like to share your resume, please drop me a message on any platform. I'm going to keep streaming to at least 3 platforms every time I'm streaming. I'm going to try to keep this a very regular thing, especially if I can get people to join and participate. But I thank everybody who's going to watch this in the future. Again, my name is Mitchell Turner. If you are looking to hire somebody with my skills, throw my phone number up on screen here real quick. It's up there. If you're looking to hire somebody with my skills, 828-270-4552. I'd appreciate it. Thank